How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We are hopefully, fingers crossed, going to buy a car today. So we got a 2.5-hour drive down to Chicago. By the title of the video, you most likely already know that I bought the car, if I bought the car, and what car it is. So this is the third Miata I'm looking at. You guys didn't know in the last video when I was talking about buying a Miata, I already had this lined up. I've been waiting to check this car out for like 2 or 3 weeks at this point. So I've been going back and forth with the guy. He's busy, I'm busy. So today is finally the day we're gonna go down 2.5 hours, go check it out. As long as everything is as it seems and the car is as it was displayed with the pictures and all of that, I'm gonna buy it and we're gonna have a Miata today. Well, today's day 2. Yesterday was Saturday. Today is Sunday. It's the next day. I drove 2.5 hours to go see that car, and when I got there, started seeing a little bit of rust on the paint, started seeing some rust spots. The whole car was coated from underneath, so you couldn't really tell if there was rust or not, but the further you look, there's a rust hole in the bottom of the car, and the whole thing was basically all rusted out. I'm not sure how bad it was, but it definitely was not a car that I would pay the money for, because I was going to look at a clean example with a hardtop, and that's not what that car was. Even though it drove mechanically, it was very nice, the interior is very nice, and even the exterior paint was pretty nice because it looked like it had been resprayed, but underneath the car was a disaster. And then we found out about a different car that's a little bit closer to me, and looked at it last night. Looked all right. Of course, I looked at it when the sun had already set because I was already coming back all the way from Chicago. So now we're gonna go head out and see that car again and see if we can make an offer on it and maybe pick that one up. I apologize for the lack of uploads. It's been 5 days as of today that I haven't uploaded a video, and that's because I haven't really had any content. Finals are going on, so I finished all of that. But let's take the Lexus and go check it out. You don't even want to know how much I've driven in this last day, but I have bought a Miata and it is currently behind me. Got a decent deal on it, and let's see if it makes it the way home. If it does, then I mean everything is pretty good. If not, then well, let's see what happens. You can barely see it in the mirror. You can't even see it in the mirror, but let's go. Well, we're in Wisconsin. Here is the car. It is basically all rust free from what I'm seeing. The headlights, one of the headlights is out, but the bright works. Got the Lexus and the Miata. So let's take it home, and I guess I'll show you tomorrow in the sunlight all around it. All right, we are back and we have the car at home. I apologize for not recording last night, but the thing is, one, I was super tired. I drove to Chicago 2 times in 2 days, which is 2.5 hours, not even to Chicago, but like suburbs of South Chicago kind of area. And yeah, it was a lot of driving in the last 2 days, like definitely over 10 hours. So I just didn't record because I was so tired of driving, but the car made it home, and it did pretty well. There isn't any big issues that I'm too concerned about. One of the headlights is out, but the high beam works. That happened last night. And also the serpentine belt started squeaking, or one of the belts started squeaking after it got home and cooled down. I'm guessing the guy just oiled it up so I wouldn't hear it when I was driving it, but I'll show you what I mean in a second. Gonna go register this car as well and go turn in the paperwork. Since it is over 20 years old, I can put collector plates on this car or hobbyist plates. It needs a little bit of paint touch up right here. It's probably just Bondoed. Apparently there was like a spoiler on it or something. If you look closely, the paint is, you know, Miata paint, so I'm not really too concerned about that. But overall, the car runs, there's no rust, and it's pretty clean. The e-brake also needs to be readjusted. It doesn't quite grab. Well, let's start it up. Fires up no problem. It's actually not squeaking anymore. It was squeaking yesterday. So I guess it's just a belt, not the biggest deal in the world, but let's go take it out for a little drive. This particular one is a 1990. We'll take it out and drive this. Pop the hood. Everything seems to be working. One of my friends came with me who owns a Miata, and he's like, everything feels right. The car drives as it should. So it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. A couple things here and there, and probably one of the belts. Pretty clean under the engine bay. I mean, for a 30-year-old car, what do you expect? It has some cheap coilovers on it, which need to be changed ASAP because honestly, they don't ride very well. So we're gonna do that probably first thing after a couple of maintenance things, like probably an oil change and just a couple things, making sure everything's good in the car. But it's just a small fun little car. The foam is taken out of the seat, so it makes the seat a little lower. I might put that back in. I really want to put a bucket seat in this car after I get this all kind of set to go. But I'm gonna grab every document I need and make sure that I have all the things so that I can go and register the car and then be legally driving. I'll probably give the car a little wash whenever I get it back. Like, small things can be adjusted. The e-brake definitely needs to be adjusted. It kind of works to an extent, I guess, but like we are rolling, so it definitely needs to be adjusted, or that needs to be figured out. Yeah, but it drives nice. It did 80 miles per hour all the way down the highway. It's 118,000 miles. The belt squeak issue is there. It kind of comes and goes a little bit. It squeaked when I started up for the second time there, so we'll look into that in a little bit, probably when I get back home in the next video. But this is the car. Of course it is manual. I'm not gonna buy a Miata and not have a manual. It also has the airbag light that's flashing there. So there's a couple of things that I need to dial in, and once those things are kind of fixed, I should have a pretty nice car. The suspension is kind of like just meh. Lots of body roll in the car. Whatever coils are on this are absolute garbage. So we're gonna have to put some new ones on. Not the biggest deal. I'm also probably gonna buy a stock Miata suspension just to have a stock suspension. First real drive complete. I didn't record any of that because I don't have anyone next to me to record, and I was just trying to fuel the car. Well, of course I took it out for a test drive, but I didn't drive it back. I had my friend drive it back the entire way. I very much appreciate him for doing that. I drove the Lexus and he drove this thing. It's a little windy out here. I haven't drove with the top down yet. The top does go down. We did test that. I can understand the hype behind the car by the way it looks, but also from like a driver's perspective, I definitely understand why people say you gotta get it into the corners. I just drove it around one of my favorite roads over here, and it's awesome. The coils definitely need to be replaced. I went for a ride in my friend's Miata yesterday. He has BCs on his car and it rides much better. It doesn't have as much body roll as this car. This car rolls around, needs a little bit of alignment. Small things. It's a very easy car to master, I guess. I know how to drive manual. Yesterday I was a little hesitant on driving it because it's a very raw car compared to the cars that I have. It makes a lot of noises, and I just put him in the car. I'm like, you sure this is normal? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. All the whooshing noises and everything you're making, everything's normal. So for the top, there's one release here, and then this comes down. A little hard to see. My camera would kind of focus on it. There's the button here, and then there's this latch. Press the button, release the latch. Once both sides are down, I guess you have to click it further than I thought. Then it's just a manual top and it goes back. Got the good old crank windows in this car. It also has these straps, I guess, to make it more race car-like from the previous owner. I have the handles. I'll probably be installing those back because the straps, I don't know, they're okay, they're whatever, but crank windows in this car, no manual, which is a better thing because there's less to break. We can just hop in the car, get right in. It's gonna take me a second to learn where that where the key slot is, but let's go take her out. That's the belt squeak. You guys are hearing that? It might go away, it might not. But that is the belt squeaking. It doesn't do it all the time, it only does it sometimes. And it's getting a little quieter and quieter. But yeah, it's doing that. That's number one thing that we're gonna fix other than oil change. See, we fire her back up and she was quiet for a second. But let's just get it back home. Well, now I got it home. I wanted to take it out on some back roads. I'm gonna go register it after I finish this video off. Get all the couple things done. You guys heard the belt squeak, not the biggest deal. We're back to normal videos every other day. So what I'm gonna try to do, make sure if you haven't subscribed to the motorcycle channel, leave it in the first link in the description down below. Help me get to 100 subscribers over there. You'll probably see 2 videos a week there. Nothing too crazy, but you'll still see some videos. Other than that, that's all I have for this one. If you did enjoy, excited for the Miata build and kind of revival, stay tuned. This car I'm definitely going to be doing more mods to than the Lexus. The Lexus is kind of just a car that, you know, I want to drive and don't want to put too much money into, but this car is going to be a proper project for me. So leave a like for that, subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.